All right.
Call workshop to order.
The first thing on the workshop tonight is, I have Adam here, Adam from Bolton Mink, and we're going to give an update on the Center Street project. Also on the first thing on the workshop is pay request number 4 of GM Contracting. I know some of you guys have some questions, but first I'm gonna have Adam kind of talk first.
Yeah, hey, thanks for giving me an hour update to put this together. So, just to kind of give you an update, right now they started the concrete paving down on 4th. 4th should pretty well be done. What we can get on that, hard paving, the concrete from 4th down to Old Highway 60, they're looking at the middle of next week, that should be finished. So once we get that done, then we'll have to wait for some breaks before we can then get the Tony Downs trucks back on that to access their loading dock, and then we can do the rest of the work down in that 4th and Abbott intersection. With the underground, they got about a week left, kind of in that area, getting up to Main Street. They are looking at starting removals on Main Street next week. I know that might be news to you, but so looking at their schedule there, you know, it's you know, I wouldn't say it's a tight window, but I think that it's doable. You know, with the road paving, you know, obviously going back with concrete is the end goal there. You know, looking at the schedule, they're talking about getting you know, sidewalk and curb and gutter that should be done by October 24th is what they have here. So, you know, worst case scenario is we don't get the concrete paving back in, but the requirement is they got to have a hard surface, so it would be, you know, just paving it with probably like 2 inches of, or 2.5 inches of bituminous, just for over the winter, just to get it there, and then they'd have to come back in the spring to get the concrete in. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there on that one. So I do believe that them getting in there with the underground and getting that put back together, that they can get that done. I know that's going to have questions for you, so feel free to ask me any questions you have on
So
that.
what's their goal as far as how far they're going to try to get?
Their goal is to get through Main Street and then just up, you know, we on Center, kind of out of Main Street's intersection, so next year we don't have to get back into Main Street. There is the, you know, the requirement that we got to keep at least one access open to the grocery store, so we can't go beyond that this year, because we're going to have the ones off of Main Street, they're all going to be closed. So the only access into the grocery store will be off the Center Avenue there. So with that, it does provide for a pretty good spot to tie in all the existing utilities. Sanitary, we are about 4 feet deeper there, so I'll put some bends on there, but the water main and the storm sewer line up in alignment real well at that intersection as well. So it's a very good kind of transition point. The other thing is, you know, if they didn't get into Main Street this year, there's, like I say, it's with the grocery store and getting that back up, you know, they'd only be able to get into Main Street and wait, and they'd have to get the Main Street access open before they could continue on with Center. So, you know, by doing this and getting this one in, next year when they come, they can shut off that west entrance into the grocery store, because we'll have the one off of Main Street will be in and usable.
So the sidewalks on both sides of Main will be tore up with?
So with the removals, what they'll do right away is they'll remove the road and probably the curb and gutter. You know, we gotta provide access to those businesses up there. So we'll leave in the sidewalk or a portion of the sidewalk, while some fencing up there to kind of protect the pedestrians from the construction activity, and just so we don't get, you know, people wandering out there. So we'd be looking at going from, like, you know, True Valley back that way. Same thing with the insurance up there. We go from there to the east, over past the Enterprise. So we would leave that sidewalk in as long as possible while they're doing the underground, the sanitary, and then start putting in the water in the storm. There will be a time when we do services that, as we dig up close to the building, we want to get those services into the building. So there will be a portion where we'll have to probably pull out a panel or two of sidewalk to get that in. So we'll have to address that after they pull that out to make sure that that's walkable again and the businesses have access to the front doors. But, and then again, once they start paving the sidewalk, they're going to be kind of shut down at the front. We'll try to minimize that as much as we can, but unfortunately there are going to be times that you're not going to be able to get in at the front entrance. We do know like the bakery is closed, I believe, on Mondays, brewery is closed like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so we'll try to align, doing some of that work in front of those businesses at that time to, minimize the disturbance.
They're actually open on Wednesday, so Monday, Tuesday is the
Monday, Tuesday, okay.
Yep.
I assume the signage is gonna change at some point then?
Yes, I just got word on this today, so I told them first thing they need to do is get the detour signage up on that. With that, I'll be providing some mapping to get out on the city website, social media of one, the detour route, and then two, kind of the accesses to the downtown businesses, showing how you're going to get access to Sunshine Foods, how you're going to get access to, Enterprise, the insurance, and then the other businesses on the south side of the Main Street.
So how close are they to road construction on the south end?
What do you mean?
Like, from 4th to 3rd and,
So right now we got curb and gutter and sidewalk installed up to just shy of 3rd. They're going to start subcutting the road, I believe tomorrow. Start to bring that up from 3rd all the way up to 1st. Right now they still got a few services that they got to put in there, just kind of how they've been installing the utilities and getting the water main, the testing and the passing on that. So yes, they'll be coming up from 3rd up to 1st to get that street going then too. And then kind of a reminder on that basically from 4th all the way up to Main Street, that's all going to be bituminous roadway. With that is a lot quicker turnaround than putting in a concrete road. Concrete road, I'd say they probably take 2 to 3 weeks to get that installed once you got curb and gutter in, whereas opposed to bituminous, it could be, like a week just for them, because once the curb and gutter in is shaking up the aggregate, and then they can pave it pretty quick right after that. So, yes, I know it looks like that they're not very far on the roadway stuff, but I think that'll come together pretty quick along there.
and their plan is to jump back into that parking lot next year, or what?
The parking lot behind businesses there. Yes, we have that where they can't rip into that at the same time that Main Street's open. We don't want those businesses to be squeezed on both sides, so that'll be a next year task.
How many days was it that they had Main Street closed down?
We had it for 50 days. So, I mean, their schedule looks like it's going to be right around that 50 days.
At what point do they get to where it's just too late? I'm not gonna make the 50 days.
For like freeze up, I mean, it's with concrete, we want it to be 40 degrees. We don't want to be pouring in concrete when it's freezing out there. So typically what we've seen is it can vary. I'd say kind of the first part of November. I mean, we've seen them where paving will go until, we paved until Thanksgiving. The good thing about this is the subcontractor Nielsen, they have their own plant. So they're not reliant on someone else to stay open. They are the ones that are providing the material for the bituminous paving.
How do we track that? I guess what I mean is that you don't know when the frost is gonna come. I mean, we don't know what's gonna happen 2 weeks from now. So we get into this and then whoops, the frost came sooner than we thought, and then we've got a problem.
Yep, so that's the contractor's risk. They gotta get it back up to a hard surface, so, if they gotta put down some temporary surfacing for, 2 blocks or something, we gotta come back in, that's gonna be at their cost. Yep.
What's the projected detour look like, Adam, for if they do get into Main Street, where we're gonna route Main Street traffic?
Yep, so Main Street, what we'll do is right here at the four-way, we'll take them down Highway 60 and then up Denzel is the detour for Main Street.
So are they gonna finish that paving on Highway 60?
Prior to the detour, I would say no, but the goal is to get that back up to, put the wear course down on that yet this year. But that shouldn't be more than a, day or half day, to get that put back in. We didn't want them to get that finished lift on there until we got that concrete pavement in there, so that we didn't have a joint, 2 joints right down there.
But that concrete's poured, or that concrete isn't poured yet?
That concrete isn't poured yet. That should be done by middle of next week.
They're gonna have some additional signs. I mean, I know you're changing the detour here, but everybody going to the grocery store is gonna be up on First North, I'm assuming, coming across that way.
Correct. Yep, that'll be where I think I'll have to double check the signage plan here, but I think we had some signs in there for that.
Just especially around the school area, I guess that gets pretty tight on those roads.
Yeah, so I guess I would recommend that the access would be coming down, Denzel first, down Center, and then, not necessarily running them up through
Main Street, but everybody's gonna take the shortcut.
Yeah, everybody's gonna find what's the shortest way or.
Just so we have good signage there to
Yep.
keep people slowed down a bit.
Well, it'd probably be nice to encourage them to get at least like the side street at Second back open to traffic if possible at some point. Like just, once it's gravel, get it back so it's at least passable.
To help a little bit more of the cross-street traffic.
Right, because otherwise you got the whole south end of town, you can only,
Access from Highway 60.
pretty much, yeah.
Or go around the north on First or Second.
Yeah. It'd be nice for emergency services too, to be able to get from one side to the other without having to go down. If for some reason somebody forgets or they're on the wrong side of town or something like that for law enforcement.
Okay.
So, how are you expecting, I did Jan and we want kids up to date from school. And we've got about 20 little kids we want. So, you don't want us going down Main Street, you want us to go,
I would say avoid Main Street.
and would you like to figure out a good way to do that?
Sounds like Second would probably be a good area, but,
Then we have to walk all the way out.
I'd have to think about that, but, where do you say they're coming from?
They're coming from school, from both the Catholic and the public school, and then we want to update the
So far behind up there.
Right.
That's what.
Oh, that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
right across from Tony Dell.
So how long till they'll have pavement up to First?
What's that?
How long, and I think you said it, but how long until they're gonna have pavement up to First?
The way I see it is they'll have like the concrete curb and gutter in there, and then they'll have, the sidewalk and driveways. They'll want to pave all that bituminous at the same time.
All the way up to Main?
Correct. Probably in one shot. I would say with that, Fourth is going to be open. Fourth Street with the concrete, around that's all going to be tied in down there.
I mean, I know road construction,
We're starting Wednesday.
You're starting Wednesday?
I know road construction sucks, but I thought we were under the impression that as they moved up, the last part had to be done.
Correct.
And then here we
with this,
sit with
it's-
Main Street tore up, and we don't even have concrete down on Center South.
Okay.
I mean, that's my biggest concern, is we're stretching this out, I mean, we're.
I'm turning into a Michael situation where they're just, throw this project off.
I mean, not that I don't want to get it done, but.
Correct, I mean, there is some difficulties with this project, with the way that, bringing stuff up at the time. We've had water main shutdowns of how far they can get before they, can test the water main to get the services. So some of the services are back a block or two that they gotta go back in and fill in just because of how far they can get with the other ones. Some with the testing on that. But yes, I think we can get, Second Ave or Second Street there, get that back up to the aggregate base at least, and then make that passable for vehicles.
So what was the hard surface deadline for this season?
For this season, I guess I kind of left it up to the contractor, and I didn't give them a hard date on it.
But are you thinking in your head it's gonna be like the 20th of November, or? I mean, the two months plants are probably gonna be
I would
done.
say earlier in that. Like I say, I don't know what the fall's gonna bring. We've had some of them where it's been like an Indian summer and.
Yeah, and I get that, I'm just thinking to myself, like, people are gonna ask, like, when are they gonna be done for the season or whatever? And, normally, all our stuff that's been a single season is usually closed out by, mid-November at the latest if possible, or Thanksgiving weekend or whatever. GM stretched theirs over there last year a little later than it probably was supposed to go. I don't know if they ended up paying for any of it, but.
Yeah, I mean, they have on here, they have to, getting Main Street back in there by November 5th. That's what they have on that. So that would be the last of the work, so I would say right in that time frame.
So is the blacktop gonna be like final grade, or is that gonna, where they have to do one lift yet?
We'll leave that down, so they'll have one lift.
Okay.
On the larger portions, if it's just a little patch into the concrete, we'll fill that up flush, so we don't have a little dip right there.
Okay.
But yes, from 4th all the way up to Main Street, there will be a probably 1.5 inch lift.
Is that what's gonna be on Main Street too, then, or is that gonna
No,
be final?
Main Street would be concrete, so
Concrete, if they can get the concrete for
But I'm saying if they can't, is it gonna be?
I'm saying worst case scenario, if they can't get in there to get the concrete pavement done, and they gotta do a bituminous paving, they'd have to fill it up with rock and then probably put down like a 2.5 inch mat or something like that, just to get us over the winter time, where we keep that flush with the concrete.
Okay.
And the curb and gutter, we don't want
Yeah.
to create any cooling there or trip hazards or any of that.
Is there a fairly large number of water services that are gonna have to be tapped for the Main Street portion, or not really?
No, I believe there's 7 of them.
7?
I think there's one in the liquor store, and then there's the 4 on the south side, and then Enterprise and the insurance company.
Okay. Because those are usually your other concerns, is just freeze up.
Correct. But we're looking at having.
You're thinking you're gonna have underground done in there by the end of October or mid-October?
They're looking at having underground done by, they got services in here October 6th. I mean, like I say, the schedule can change a little bit, but they're looking at the first part of October of being done with underground, and then it's just a street building.
Tyler gave you that schedule,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I looked at it, I know he could be ambitious sometimes,
Oh, he's-
but I mean,
Ambitious? That's generous.
No, I think he's just optimistic always.
yeah.
Unrealistically so in a couple cases.
Well, that's happy, but that's fine.
I did ask him too, I said, does the schedule include, weekends? And he said, no, not right now, it doesn't, but they do have options of,
Well, they've been working till dark, it's not, I don't know about this concrete cutting at 2 AM, but.
Well, but that's, unfortunately, that's, I'm not gonna tell them when they can cut it,
No,
when they
I get it.
can't cut it, because if it starts cracking, then we own it, so I'm gonna leave it to them and their discretion of when the sawing is, and unfortunately, with kind of the temperatures we're having,
Is that what they were concerned about, is the temperature change?
yeah, I mean, if it's a warmer day, they wanna get out there and, get on it, but, sometimes they can wait till the following morning, but that's always kind of the issue with concrete paving, especially in town.
Yeah.
As far as that detour on the First Street North, Adam, if GM's gonna use that First Street for material storage, do we need to push that further north a few streets? So it's not, tied up even more? I don't know what, like I said, I've talked to Tyler about, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he was hoping to use use your lot up there at the lumberyard, maybe store sand, because I told him, I said, we don't want sand piles or nothing there up by the, entrance to the grocery store. We don't need another obstacle for, people trying to get in, and only access into the grocery store, so, yes, we want to kind of keep that area clean. There'll be a point, they'll be probably driving through there with their payloader and that stuff, but, we don't want piles just hanging out there.
When did they want to get in Main Street again?
They wanted to start with removals next Monday.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to make sure somebody reaches out to the school or you've been in it.
Rob and I will discuss, well, I want to call in staff tomorrow, obviously. Adam called me at about 4:45 tonight and told me that, so I asked him to come here to explain everything to you, so basically Wade and Rob are hearing it for the first two right now, so I need to call staff together and divide the plan, and then just how to get it out as soon as we possibly can. Amy, oh, I thought you were looking at me, I'm like, you're scaring me.
It's fine, whatever.
But I am a little concerned about the one road that we had such issues with Michael's. I have a feeling we're gonna have the same issue with this, so we'll discuss it with school.
What road is that?
Semi tractor through there or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially if we have a semi trying to take a detour through there.
What road was that, Chrissy?
Adams and First Street.
Adams and First.
Everybody dropped their kids off right there, and it's a little congested there. So if they turn up Adams to go on First, to go around, we all have some issues, especially if semis are trying to cut through there.
Not counting any events that would happen at the school. Once if there's an event at the elementary school, you can't get down, you can barely get down to Adams or First.
They're very narrow, with only one side, with people parking only on one side.
Figure something else out for homecoming parades and we get things done before us, so that's, we don't have to worry about that at least. Unless they go long.
Anybody
Okay,
have anything else?
so,
Do you have any ideas on what those kids? It's on walking a lot.
I would say cross on First Street north.
I'm gonna jump around on the workshop.
Yeah, you
Um,
come down Center Avenue.
Obviously, you got all your questions answered in regards to GM contracting, so the pay request number 4 is on the agenda tonight. But I do want to touch base on quotes from PSG for the water system valves and hydrants. you have all that information in that regard, and those quotes are on the agenda tonight to approve. So you want to give kind of an update on the hydrants? Because this hydrant is going to be changed out tomorrow.
We're gonna try and fix it. Let's just if we can't fix it, we have to put it in the because right now the barrel's live. Can't have a live barrel in Minnesota in the winter time. So
Otherwise, you're gonna have to.
we can't pull the guts out and fix it, which we have done to a couple other ones, but if that doesn't work, we put in new hydrants or dig down and put a valve and eliminate the hydrant for the time being. So that's why the hydrant is on there.
Is it why? Because there isn't a valve in front of it, or?
There is no valve.
Oh.
And
Actually.
something happened on fire night,
So you might be able to walk there.
it was broken.
Broke open.
Come down our street.
So, also with the work that has been done, we've been finding there's been broken valves within the water system, which some of those valves have not been replaced. They knew they were broken and haven't been replaced, correct?
One, the other ones, we, for lack of a better way to put it, we broke when we were trying to shut down for Center Street. But they're also on the infrastructure in town that's older than anybody in the room. So they're on 4-inch mains. That's just old stuff. They broke. So they're snapped shut in most cases. So we need to get those fixed.
So
That's what the 20,000 is for?
That's what the 20,000 for.
And I believe on the sheet, or on the claims, you have already purchased some of it, right? For 17, I think that amount was for Dakota Supply Group. Matt, do you see it on there?
Yeah.
And so that is some of it, because we need to get them ordered so he can start getting everything lined up and start replacing them this week. But we need the approval within the minutes for the expenditure. There's two different kinds, in the quotes. One is, for old school. And Wade, can you kind of explain that? Old school replacing a valve versus this new way of replacing a valve?
The older way is, they're called mega lug joint restraints. There's a bunch of bolts and gaskets and stuff. You have to hook and tighten out and things like that. The newer style are these Hymax for rivers couplings, which I usually have used in the water plant and on 106. You put it together and there's one bolt. You put a torque wrench on it, tighten it down, you get another torque wrench, you just set your pressure, you crank it, you're done, you walk away.
Which one's a better
It's a little bit more,
Which one's a better fitting?
which one's the better one? For labor wise, the Hymax. It's a ton better.
There's only a few $100 difference then between the two, $600.
Yes.
I mean,
That's a no-brainer.
right.
Are you planning on replacing these yourself, or what?
I don't know, we don't have the time, I've got somebody coming in to do the excavation and we're providing all the materials. We're saving markup and things like that.
Do you want to order enough so you have them on hand?
Yep.
Past what you're replacing?
I have some in stock
Okay.
right now. This is just for this project, but I have other ones in stock. The old mega lug joint restraint stock.
Sure.
In the water budget, we had 100,000 allocated for maintenance, so this would come out of that, maintenance allocation. Any other questions in regards to any of the quotes that was
We
in
got
the packet?
upfront pricing on who's ever doing the excavating, stuff like that, or roundabout. ideas or at least have a range?
No, there's no way to tell.
Well, I'm just, you know, I mean, trying to get a ballpark type of thing, I get it to a certain extent, but
We will help when we have time to. I mean, I gotta get down to the ditch and help off, that's what I'm gonna do, but we can't guarantee that.
I would assume you're gonna have to do shutdowns block by block to put them in, so you might be chasing those a little bit.
Possibly, you know,
Yeah, I would just
it's not a good situation,
recommend having a couple extra on hand, but you, instead of waiting.
All right, I have 2 minutes. So planning and zoning met tonight in regards to the setback variance that has been requested from Tracy Henry in the counter offer for lot 1, block 3 of Riverview Heights. The planning and zoning commission has recommended to the council to call a public hearing and to go forth with it. The other thing would be to also call the public hearing for not only the variance, but also the land sale, if everything is approved.
we're talking 2 different public hearings,
There would be 2 different public hearings.
separate times or the same day?
They would be on the same day, but
Right, that's fine if they're separate, but we're not gonna do one and then have to wait 2 weeks and do another one.
no, I would like to do everything on the same night if everybody's in agreement to that.
I would make a motion that we set the public hearings for both the sale and the lot.
Oh, that's on the agenda. That's the workshop.
In a minute, just give it a minute.
And then the last one is, the 2026 budget, but, obviously we can reconvene the workshop after the council meeting if you'd like to discuss it.
Football game on tonight.
Can I get, are we reconvening or maybe do I have a motion to close?
We set the budget tonight and we got to reconvene.
You are doing the preliminary levy on the 22nd, so this
We
is
better
just a,
talk about it tonight.
Yeah, I make a motion that we
Reconvene after.
reconvene.
No second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Same sign. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the council meeting to order. We have approval of the consent items.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on pay request number 4 to GM Contracting in the amount of $445,555.97.
I'll make a motion to approve this pay request.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on accepting employment resignation of Danielle Getz.
Make a motion that we accept the employment resignation of Daniel Getz.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on setting a public hearing for setback variances.
Now, I would like to make a motion that we set the public hearing for the setback variance.
I'll second.
And do you have a date for that?
I'll do it on September 22nd, the next council meeting.
All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on setting a public hearing for land sale, and that would be on September 22nd also.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on DSG quotes for valves in the amount of $20,937.21.
Those are the non-megalugs,
Those are the mega lots.
Yeah.
so you want the more expensive quote than not this number, right?
Yeah. Because it was cheaper on labor. He said,
Right, but what's the number for the purchase of the, what'd you call it?
Well, the lesser ones is like a $600 difference. The ones that are more difficult to put in, more labor expense.
The better ones were $600 more.
Yeah, so the 2937 is the higher of the two
And
quotes.
that's the one.
That's the one we want.
That's the one you want?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so this is the,
Yes.
this is the higher of the two.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Oh,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take further action on DSQ quotes for fire hydrants in the amount of $4,601.75.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Wait, do you normally have a hydrant on hand, a full stock or anything for?
I try to have at least one or two on you. Right now, I'm down to one.
Citizens communication?
Corey, can I add
Yeah.
one more thing, just because we kinda got rushed through in workshop?
Yeah.
Squad car right now, we have a squad car sitting in our garage right now that is in need of some, repair, which probably exceeds the value of the car, and if Rob.
Is this
you
going to be an
want-
agenda item?
Yeah, I would, or do you wanna just wait with this discussion?
Well, I'm taking it over there on Thursday to have them pull everything out, so.
But you need the approval to sell it.
Well, we can do the proof of selling whenever, but my plan is to get it stripped out here, because it's not worth fixing, so.
I think there's a motion to sell it.
We have a motion to sell it on Vinbid.
We need one.
We've always asked for
Should create
permission.
surplus or what?
I just don't want you to go on Minbid and say, hey, is that our car on Minbid? You guys gotta know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, I'd make the motion to put it on.
Well-
If we need to add it as administrative item.
Yeah, well, okay.
We don't, I mean, we can do it on, we can do it on the 22nd.
Let's do
if you have
that. Just make it easier. Okay. Go ahead with what you were going to do. Citizens communication?
Ken, can you solve the problem that you were just talking about?
Well, for this week.
So, just so everybody's aware, Main Street is gonna start Monday for removal, so it'll be closed from Adams to, what, Abbott?
Yeah.
We'll keep the, yeah, we'll have some signs there, but I think we'll leave some of that parking open. Should be open down to, Alliance, for parking.
Okay.
So that's where the hard closure will be, is there.
Okay. Look in the newspaper for more information.
The updates on your city website.
Mr. Mayor, it sounds like there's a meeting at the school tomorrow night too for the bond.
Oh, yes.
School at 6 p.m.
Yes, there is a bond referendum, meeting that they're gonna be going over, I would assume, all the updates that they're wanting to do. That is
6 p.m. tomorrow night.
In the auditorium.
Yes.
There's a second date too, isn't there?
Yeah, it's 13th of October.
Okay.
You're thinking about having a pool?
Happy birthday, Snuff.
Well,
Can I get a motion to adjourn the council meeting and go back into workshop?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll reconvene workshop to go over budget.
Ambulance. And actually, that's in my thing here. 29,000. Okay. You want me to jump right in?
Yeah, let's
Jump into the cedar.
All right. 2024 capital transfers were not done. Just to be honest with you, with the flood and all of the rigmarole at the end of the year, just trying to figure out if we were gonna break even in regards to all of the revenue loss and stuff. The transfers were not done, so they were now pushed over to 2025, which we would be okay to do the 2024 transfers and the 2025 transfers together. So I need approval going into next meeting with the preliminary levy. I would be doing transfers to the police. It was $5,000 in 2024 and $5,000 in 2025. The police capital account sits at $60,466.75 for a new squad. So, fire transfers, are $25,312.50 for 2024, same as 2025. $15,312.50 is to put towards truck and equipment, and $10,000 is to put towards turnout gear. Fire capital account sits at $179,091.76. Breakdown is $139,91.76 for trucks and equipment, and $40,000 for turnout gear. The turnout gear, correct me if I'm wrong, keep on trying to get that grant, and no luck.
I don't think they've heard anything for this year yet, but.
And, can you kind of give me an idea, on what one turnout gear would cost for one individual? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. I know it's quite expensive, so that's
Yeah.
why I want to say it's almost close to $10,000 for one person.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So this would only outfit 4 of our almost 30 firemen. So just so that wrap your head around that one. Okay, park, no transfers in 2024 and 2025. Park capital sits at a negative $31,000. We're still waiting on that FEMA money from the last flood that we went through the state. We're supposed to get $130,000 from the state, and that was to replenish back in the park capital. Celia and I are still wrapping up on that. We're not the only town that is sitting like this right now. Changes in the budget
I have one
for,
question there real quick.
yep,
So we're waiting for it from the state.
so that flood was only handled by the state. It never went to federal. Well, federal gave their money to state, and then state allocated it. And so, City of Springfield, we're all sitting with outstanding balances on those. Celia and I have tried numerous emails. I think we're getting to a point that somebody needs to give us an answer fairly soon, so.
I mean, we're talking 5 years ago. This has got nothing to do with FEMA.
I
This
don't,
one.
I wrote 2020 down when I turned around and looked at my totes, but I want to say that was 2023. Did we flood in 2023? I think it's 2023. When we built the white building, it's that flood. When we built the white building,
23.
that's 23. So that's my bad.
Okay.
Park changes to the budget. We obviously, accepted the resignation. We will not be adding that full-time position back. I added the 3 seasonal positions onto the budget. T-ball went to the school to community ed to run, so we will not be doing that. This year was the first year, it went very, very well. They had actually more people participate in it than we'd had, so I feel really good about this. We have an allocation of $1,000 in our budget to give to the school for them to continue to run the T-ball. Not planning on doing art in the park because I don't have anybody to facilitate it, nor do I have any other youth activities due to not replacing this position. I left the $2,500 in the budget for marketing to run ads for the campground on Facebook, Instagram, and freshen up the videos. Pool, there was no transfers for the pool. in 2024 and 2025. Pool capital sits at $50,600, and this is basically allocated for the new filters that we need to purchase. Due to, again, not having the full-time position, I added the outside labor cost for the management of the pool, and that's what we had in when we had Lake Crystal Rec Center manage it. So I put that allocation back into the budget. And I also added a $15,000 capital transfer also to that budget, just because of all the repairs and maintenance that need to be done.
So by the end of this,
But,
by the end of this year, they would have 65,000, or would that be,
no,
or is that with that?
no, 15,000 would come on in 2026.
Okay.
That would be allocated, so 50,600 is what they have currently right now. Street, 10,000 in 2024, 10,000 in 2025. Street capital account sits at $42,890.91. Obviously, we need to do the equipment, asset list to kind of run down to see what needs to be allocated, but I can tell you one thing that needs to be addressed is the street sweeper. That's probably number one right now. All right, ambulance, 2025, the reason we do not have 2024 is we received that, stipend or that ambulance, aid, and so 2024's, allocation or transfer was taken care of by that, aid that was sent, that we got in last year. So we just need to do a transfer of $30,000 for the ambulance. So right now, Lake Hanska Township has not paid their portion of the ambulance. All of the other townships have paid. After transfer, ambulance capital will sit at $236,307.37. This will be put into a CD until the new ambulance is finished. The remaining balance is $179,931. Remaining funds and yearly township and city contributions will be put in that CD to grow for next capital purchases. So that's what all the townships have decided that's where they want. They pay now yearly, just like fire does. So they have an allocation of what they have to pay.
So what's the status of the Lake Hanska Township? They're just refusing to pay?
They want to understand, because the way they look at it, and I get the way they look at it, it makes complete sense, in a farmer's eyes, in regards to, why are we paying for an ambulance, when, like, why would I buy my neighbor a combine and he just uses it, but I don't get anything back? They're not looking at the safety aspect of our obligation to the community and to all of our area that we have to take care of. And so all of the other townships, when we went into this agreement, understood what we were doing in regards to contributing to an ambulance, but what to have the hospital manage it, and which then increased our service to the area. I mean, we would never been able to have paramedics, and we would never be able to have 24/7 coverage. And to give you an idea, Lake Crystal is signing the exact same contract as we have with the hospital. And so the hospital then will be going in, and managing their ambulance, just like they manage this here. So with all of the struggles that rural ambulance are facing right now with the lack of volunteers and the different rates in regards to Medicare not being paid and all of the different stuff, it is hard for a city to manage an ambulance. There's just, we can't.
So are we covering that area still?
Are we covering what?
The township? I mean, there must be something that we're required to cover
Yeah.
so many miles outside of whatever.
We have to cover it right now until this gentleman and I converse, and we'll be calling a meeting with the township. We've had this issue in the past with another one on here, but they've actually come around and have now contributed and understand the need and their obligation to the community. So,
I guess I don't hate the combine analogy, because it's like a fire truck. God hopes we never have to use them, but you can't not have them.
but they're not looking at it like that. They're looking at it like, oh, okay, let's buy my neighbor a combine, he can use it, he'll benefit, he'll make millions of dollars off of using this combine. That's what they think. They think that the ambulance is making millions of dollars, and they don't really know the whole billing structure and the wages that go into maintaining the staff and the supplies and everything. And yes, we do spend this much money on equipment that sits in a garage, and we hope and pray that it isn't used, but we also want to know that when it does need to be used, that it's in its tip-top shape, and that we've provided top-notch service so your loved ones can be taken care of, or even you taken care
I
of.
mean, a better example would be insurance. Just like auto insurance. They don't need anything back for that,
But
if they don't need it.
I've gone back to 1950. This agreement with the townships and the ambulance and the fire has been around forever. And I've gone through all the minutes and everything because I want to know where this all stemmed from. This is stemmed from 1950 was, I think, the last I could find of the minutes.
As a municipality, and I don't know what technically Mechanicsburg qualifies as, but as a municipality, are they required to provide certain emergency services for their constituents, for lack of a better word?
I was just reading over the statute. The short answer is it is their responsibility. It's not our responsibility to provide it for a township if a township wants to provide it for itself.
And that would basically be the way I explain it.
But they also signed a contract in regards to being a part of this.
No? Isn't that fun? God, that wasn't your job.
Well, it's just simple debt collection. It's not that difficult.
And so this was actually referenced at one of the annual meetings in regards to if failure of payment comes with one of the partners within the contract, yes, attorneys will be notified.
I mean, at the end of the day, if something happens to somebody in Hanscott, I don't want to be the one that's responsible to say,
Well, it's not, it's
No, no,
not,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
I want to say it's not Hampstead, it's.
Regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
Pick a territory.
Yeah,
Well, I don't want to be the one that somebody doesn't get the care they need because there was happening on this.
we're
But to know
This is just completely just ignoring.
yeah,
No, this isn't happening.
that is our service territory, we would never deny that ambulance from going out. That is our
Can
responsibility.
I please just finish this? Please. All I'm saying is, do they understand that at the end of the day, they're on the hook? That's my only question.
I don't think they care though.
That's the problem. There you go. That's where I was going. And with that, I'll stop because I'm making a bigger mess than I'm trying to create somewhere.
Sorry for interrupting you, but I needed to point it out. I needed to point it out that if there is at any time in conversation out in the public that you do come across this township, please discuss it with them or say something that, yeah, it is their responsibility and that I'm very proud of what we have here. And obviously, everybody should be proud of it because Crystal is wanting it too, and so.
And I get the fact that haggling is poor word choice, I apologize for that. I think that that's the key part, because it's very well run. And when it's needed, it'll be there.
So, all right, enterprise funds, water sits with a profit of, as we sit right now, not all of the expenses have gone through, but sits with a profit as of today of $34,000. Wastewater is at a loss of $100,000. I'm not too concerned, there's some factors on why we sit like that. Liquor sits at a profit of $69,000 as of today. So right now, as I put all of this together, 2026 budget, these are the changes. Number one, there was a 20% increase in health insurance budget. Number two, 4 to 5% increase in wages based on union contracts. Number three, added that 0.0044% to each employee for that PFML, paid family medical leave that will start on the first of the year. The only capital contributions in 2026 budget are the police, the fire, the pool, the street, and the ambulance. And I removed the one full-time position. With just those changes and not increasing anything else and operating as the same, we look at a 6.79% increase in the levy, just because of those changes.
What was the increase last year?
10. Heather and I attended a meeting a couple weeks ago with the city of Marshall, city of Springfield, city of Sleepy, Granite Falls. All of them came to the table with 16 to 20%, where that's what they were looking at for their increase for the preliminary. I haven't seen any news articles or anything. I don't know if anybody in the public has seen anything of any other neighboring towns yet. Jim, I don't know, do you have an idea where the county sits?
I think we're gonna be 95 to 6 for the same reasons you said. We're looking at a 16.9% health insurance increase, union contracts, unfunded mandates from the state, which aren't, the worst will be, I think, in 2027.
So, yeah, I was generous because we do not have our insurance quotes yet, and they won't be here until the beginning of October.
Two-man cables at 5 and something.
5.
They're both very levy today, so.
Without creating too much of a mess, can you give me an example of what one of the unfunded mandates would be?
So, with health and human services.
Oh, okay, got it.
That's mainly where it's at. Well, if they're not even bad this year, it's next year is what they're saying, unless the legislature changes something.
We're not obviously approving anything tonight. There could be possible more changes or whatever, if anybody's got any ideas. That's what I got for you guys.
Not to beat a dead horse, but can we go back into the Center Street project for just a second, since that's there? There's a couple of pieces, I mean, we knew going in this was gonna be a challenge. It's lived up to that, but I think there's some pieces to this, and we gotta make sure we got it put together right. But for instance, so next Monday, they start on Center Street. 50 days is the 4th of November. So on the 5th, will it be open? I'm not gonna ask you to answer that right now, but you know, what's gonna happen between them, we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns out there. And how much, are you comfortable with what's been put in there as far as, cushion for things that weren't anticipated weather-wise, which kind of fit us in the fourth point of contact over the summer?
Like I say, I think it's, getting it all the way up to concrete, yes, that's gonna be it's gonna be a tight window that we're gonna have a little bit of favorable weather. I mean, if we get a week-long rain or something where we can't be doing work, that'll set us back. Like I said, they've indicated that they'll work, Saturdays to get this done. The other thing too is, as the contractors, they're here to make money too, so they don't want to have any unforeseen expenses of, having to do a lot of temporary pavement. So, they're motivated to get it done and get it back up to, finished grade this year. So, and also with that is if we can't get concrete paving in, that schedule said that, middle of October. So I'm confident that we can get it at least blacktop.
And then, and I may have heard this wrong, but initially we discussed this to the point I think Cody said earlier, at least I had thought that we were going to start to return roads to service as we move forward, but now it sounds like they're gonna do the paving because it's like 2 minutes all at once. So those roads will all open at the same time, correct? I mean, Center Street from Old Highway 60 to Main is gonna all open at once.
Correct. I anticipate that they'll want to do all the bid paving at once.
Did we know that going in?
No, I mean, we could require them to do paving on it and say, hey, you need to do 2 blocks of paving. I mean, it's not,
Well, I wouldn't want to do it wrong. I wouldn't want to rush to failure. To me, that's a surprise that maybe some of the residents on those streets that thought they'd have their street back by now.
sure. And it has been a challenging summer, where we started off down there with some of the soils and with the rainy weather we had, it was difficult to start to get some of that street being built.
I don't necessarily think it has to be returned to pavement, but having access through it as a cross street probably makes sense, at least one other point of access other than 60.
You get it back up to gravel.
Right, get it to gravel and get it at least open to local traffic so you can get through it.
Because anything going north is gonna be a crunch, like all those roads are filled and narrow.
Correct. So I think what I'm hearing here is get Second Avenue or Second Street opened up and get some gravel on that to at least facilitate cross traffic on it.
That would probably make the most sense in my eyes, yeah.
I could anticipate that maybe being a week and a half from happening, but
Yeah, and then that could, then you're only talking a week or whatever of both Main Street and not having a second access point through there. If they could get that back to gravel and open, even if it's just open to local traffic, just so people can get through on the south end.
sure.
I think that would make sense. And I understand that they'd have to close it again for the concrete, construction portion of it or whatever anyway. But at least as long as they weren't actively working in the area, if it could be open to local traffic, it would probably make sense.
Okay. So we'll push that on.
Anything else?
Make a motion to close the workshop. I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.